She was humiliated by her ex-fiancé until a millionaire appeared and kissed her in front of everyone. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into the story. I'm sure she didn't expect to see him again. But fate has a funny way of surprising you when you least expect it. 2 days later, Emma was sitting in her small apartment, surrounded by piles of unpaid bills, when her phone rang. It was an unknown number. She hesitated before answering. Hello? Is this Emma Brooks? The voice on the other end was calm, professional, and oddly familiar. Her heart skipped a beat as she recognized it. It was him, the man from the restaurant. Yes, this is Emma, she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. This is Liam Parker. We met the other night at the restaurant. Emma's breath caught in her throat. She wasn't sure whether to be embarrassed or intrigued. Oh, yes, I remember, she said, her face flushing. I'm so sorry about everything. I didn't mean to cause a scene. Liam chuckled softly. Don't worry about it. Actually, I was wondering if you'd like to meet up again. I was hoping we could talk. Perhaps coffee or something. Emma felt a knot form in her stomach. She had assumed that after the awkward mistake, she wouldn't see him again. But here he was, reaching out. Sure, that sounds nice, she replied, trying to sound casual. How about tomorrow at 10? Perfect, Liam said, sounding pleased. I'll meet you at your favorite cafe. See you then. She hung up the phone, her thoughts racing. Why would he want to meet again? Was he just being polite, or was there something more? She quickly shook her head, trying to push away any thoughts that might lead her down a path of false hope. The next day, she arrived at the cafe early, unsure of what to expect. The place was cozy, with warm lighting and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filling the air. She sat by the window, glancing nervously at her phone. She was so lost in her thoughts that she didn't notice when Liam walked in. Hey, Emma! His voice pulled her out of her reverie. She looked up, and there he was, standing in the doorway. His suit was impeccably tailored, and his confident smile made her heart skip a beat. Hi, she said, standing up to greet him. It's good to see you again. Likewise, Liam replied, his eyes scanning her face. How's your week been? Emma hesitated for a moment before answering. Busy, just trying to keep everything together. Work, life, it's a lot sometimes. Liam nodded, his expression thoughtful. I can imagine, but you're doing well, right? Emma smiled faintly. I'm managing. It's not easy, but I'm getting by. There was a brief silence between them. And for a moment, Emma felt a bit uncomfortable. She wasn't used to having someone pay attention to her so intently, especially not someone like Liam. Listen, I wanted to apologize for the other night, Liam said, breaking the silence. I should have told you who I was. I don't know why, but I wanted to see how you would react to me, without knowing anything about my background. Emma blinked, taken aback by his honesty. Why would you do that? She asked, genuinely curious. I guess I wanted to see if you'd still be interested in me for who I am, not what I have, Liam replied, his voice steady. I know it's a weird thing to do, but it seemed like the right choice at the time. Emma processed his words, her mind spinning. It wasn't every day that a millionaire admitted to testing someone's sincerity. But somehow, it made sense. She hadn't been charmed by his money or his status. It was the way he made her feel like she was more than just a waitress. I get it, Emma said, her voice soft. But why me? There are so many other women who would have been thrilled to be in your world. Liam shook his head. That's exactly the problem. I don't want to be with someone who's only interested in the money. I want someone who sees me for who I am, not the life I've built. Emma's heart softened at his words. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. For the first time in a long time, she felt like someone truly saw her, not as a waitress, but as a person with dreams and hopes. I think I understand, she said, her voice trembling slightly. But I'm not used to this. I've always had to fight for everything. My dreams, my life, Nothing's ever been handed to me. Liam smiled gently. That's exactly what I like about you. You're real. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're just Emma. His words caught her off guard, and she felt a warmth spread through her chest. She wasn't sure what this was, this connection between them, but it felt genuine, and that was enough for her. As they continued to talk, the world outside seemed to fade away. For the first time in a long time, Emma felt like she could be herself. There were no judgments, no expectations, just two people, connecting over their shared humanity. And in that moment, she realized that this was just the beginning of something unexpected, something beautiful. As the days passed, Emma found herself thinking about Liam more often than she expected. What had started as an awkward mistake during a blind date had slowly blossomed into something she couldn't ignore. She never imagined a man like him, someone with wealth, power, and influence, would take an interest in someone like her. But the more they met, the more she realized that Liam wasn't like the other men in her life. He wasn't driven by status or appearance. He saw her. He understood her struggles. And for the first time in years, she felt seen. It wasn't just about what she didn't have. It was about who she was at her core. Their coffee dates turned into longer conversations, and soon, they started spending more time together. He invited her to art galleries, to dinners at exclusive restaurants, and slowly, he was becoming more than just a millionaire who wanted to test her sincerity. Liam was becoming someone she trusted. One afternoon, as they walked through the park after visiting a local gallery, Liam stopped in his tracks and turned to face her. "Emma, I want to ask you something," he said, his voice serious. Emma's heart skipped a beat as she met his gaze. "What is it?" she asked, trying to sound casual, but she could feel the tension building in the air between them. "I know we haven't known each other for long, but I've never felt this way before," Liam continued, his eyes intense. "I know I have a lot to offer, but it's not the money that matters to me anymore. It's you." Emma felt a flutter in her chest as her breath caught. She wasn't sure if she was ready for what he was about to say, but she couldn't look away. "I've been thinking about you constantly, and I want to know if you feel the same way. I'm not asking for anything crazy, but I just need to know if we have a future." For a moment, Emma didn't speak. She was still trying to process his words, her mind racing with thoughts of her past, her insecurities, and her fears. Could she really open herself up to someone like Liam? Could she trust that this wasn't just another fairy tale that would eventually fall apart? She took a deep breath, her voice steady but uncertain. "Liam, I don't know if I'm ready for something like this. I've always had to work so hard for everything. I've built my life from the ground up, and the idea of just jumping into something with no guarantees scares me." Liam's expression softened as he reached out and gently took her hand in his. "I understand. I've been in your shoes before, Emma, but I'm not asking you to leap without looking. I just want you to know that I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. I care about you, and I want to be part of your future." His words were like a balm to her heart, soothing her fears and calming her nerves. For the first time in a long time, Emma felt the weight of her doubts start to lift. She wasn't sure where this journey with Liam would take her, but something inside her told her to take the chance. She had spent so many years protecting herself, closing off her heart to the possibility of love. But now, standing here with Liam, she realized that maybe, just maybe, it was time to let someone in. "Okay," she said quietly, squeezing his hand. "I'm willing to take a chance on us." Liam's face lit up with a smile that made her heart skip a beat. "You won't regret it," he promised, leaning in to kiss her gently on the cheek. As they stood there, in the middle of the park, Emma felt a sense of peace wash over her. She had no idea what the future held, but for the first time, she wasn't afraid. Liam had become a part of her life, and she was ready to see where it would go. Days turned into weeks, and Emma found herself falling deeper for Liam. He wasn't just a millionaire or a successful businessman. He was kind, thoughtful, and genuinely cared for her. But just when she thought things couldn't get any better, everything changed. One evening, as they were attending a charity gala, Emma found herself alone for a moment, admiring the artwork on the walls. She hadn't seen Liam for a while, and she assumed he was with some of his business associates. She was about to turn back to the gallery when she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned around, her heart racing, only to be met with a sight she never expected. There, standing before her, was her ex-fiancé, Kevin, the man who had humiliated her in front of everyone at that fateful dinner. Emma froze, her blood running cold. "Emma," Kevin said, his voice dripping with sarcasm, "I didn't expect to see you here." He looked her up and down, his gaze condescending. "I see you've upgraded, huh? Got yourself a rich man now?" Emma's heart raced as she struggled to keep her composure. She had no idea how to respond to him, not here, not now. Just as she opened her mouth to say something, she felt a presence beside her. Liam. He had arrived just in time. "Is there a problem here?" Liam's voice was calm but firm as he stepped in between them, his presence towering. Kevin's eyes flickered with recognition, and for a moment, the tension in the air thickened. "Liam Parker," Kevin said with a smirk. "I should have known. You've got yourself a real catch, huh?" Liam's jaw tightened, but his voice never wavered. "She's not a catch. She's someone who deserves respect. Something you clearly don't understand." Emma felt a rush of relief as Liam stood by her side, his unwavering support giving her strength. Kevin looked between them, his smirk fading, as he realized he was no longer in control. "Let's go, Emma," Liam said softly, his voice gentle but assertive. As they walked away, Emma felt a sense of closure she never thought she'd have. The humiliation from her past was behind her now, and with Liam by her side, she felt stronger than ever. She didn't need Kevin's approval. She didn't need anyone's approval. She was enough, and for the first time, she believed it. It had been weeks since the charity gala, and Emma felt like she was finally moving forward. The heavy weight of her past with Kevin had started to lift, and with Liam by her side, everything felt different. He was no longer just the millionaire CEO she had once mistaken him for. He had become someone she trusted, someone who truly cared for her. They spent their days together, enjoying simple pleasures like visits to local parks, quiet dinners at home, and long walks through the city. It felt like the world was finally on her side, and for the first time in years, Emma allowed herself to relax. She could see a future ahead of her, a future that wasn't weighed down by the past. One evening, as they sat on the balcony of Liam's penthouse, watching the city lights flicker below, he turned to her, a serious look on his face. "Emma," he said softly, his voice carrying a hint of hesitation, "I've been thinking about something." She looked at him, her heart skipping a beat. "What is it?" she asked, her voice a little quieter than usual. He took a deep breath, as if trying to find the right words. "I know we've only known each other for a short time, but I feel like I've known you forever. The way you've been there for me, the way you make me feel. I haven't felt this way in a long time, and I want to ask you something important." Emma's pulse quickened. Was he about to say what she thought he was going to say? "What is it, Liam?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He took her hands in his, looking deep into her eyes. "I want to make this official, Emma. I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me?" For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Emma's heart pounded in her chest as she tried to process what he was asking. She had never imagined this moment would come, not with someone like Liam, not after everything she had been through. But now, here he was, asking her to take that step with him. She could feel the tears welling up in her eyes as she looked at him, and for the first time in a long time, she felt a deep sense of peace. "Yes," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "Yes, I will marry you." Liam smiled, his face lighting up with joy as he pulled her into a tight embrace. The world seemed to fade away as they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms. For Emma, it was like a dream come true. She had spent so many years questioning her worth, wondering if she would ever find love, and now she had found it in the most unexpected way. Liam was everything she had ever wanted, and more. As the days passed, the wedding preparations began. Emma was overwhelmed by the thought of it all, dresses, invitations, the endless details, but Liam was there every step of the way, supporting her and making sure she knew she wasn't alone. He even took the time to listen to her ideas, making sure the day would be everything she had ever dreamed of. It wasn't just about the wedding itself, it was about the life they would build together. One day, as they sat together, discussing the guest list, Liam took her hand and looked at her with such tenderness that it took her breath away. "Emma," he said, his voice full of sincerity, "I know our story hasn't been perfect, but I want you to know that every step of the way, I've loved you more than I ever thought possible. You've changed my life, and I'm never going to take that for granted." Tears filled Emma's eyes as she squeezed his hand. "I feel the same way," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You've shown me that love isn't about what you have or where you come from. It's about who you are. And I know that, no matter what happens, we'll face it together." The wedding day arrived, and Emma could hardly believe how quickly everything had come together. The venue was breathtaking, the flowers were perfect, and as she stood in front of the mirror in her dress, she felt like a queen. Liam's words echoed in her mind, and she couldn't help but smile. She had come so far, and now she was ready to begin this new chapter of her life. The ceremony was intimate, with only close family and friends in attendance. When it was time for Liam to take her hand, she walked down the aisle, her heart racing with excitement and love. As they exchanged vows, Emma felt a sense of completeness that she had never known before. She wasn't just marrying Liam, the millionaire. She was marrying the man who had shown her the true meaning of love, the man who had made her feel worthy of everything she had ever dreamed of. As they shared their first kiss as husband and wife, Emma felt her heart swell with happiness. It wasn't the fairy tale she had imagined as a little girl. It was better, it was real, and it was exactly what she needed. After the wedding, the two of them settled into their new life, filled with love, laughter, and the promise of a future they would build together. Emma couldn't believe how far she had come from the waitress struggling to make ends meet, to the woman who had found her place in Liam's world, to the one who now had the love she had always deserved. In the end, it wasn't about the money or the status. It was about the connection they shared, the trust they had built, and the love that would carry them through anything life threw their way. As Emma and Liam settled into married life, their world seemed to grow brighter with each passing day. The love they shared was undeniable, and every moment together felt like a dream come true. But as with every fairy tale, reality was waiting just around the corner. One evening, after a long day at work, Emma came home to find Liam sitting on the couch, a serious expression on his face. "What's wrong?" she asked, her heart sinking as she noticed his unusually somber mood. Liam looked up at her, his eyes filled with uncertainty. "Emma, I've been thinking about something. I don't want to keep any more secrets from you." Emma felt a wave of anxiety wash over her. "What do you mean?" She sat down next to him, her hand gently brushing against his. Liam sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's about my family. There's something you should know." Emma's heart pounded in her chest. "Liam, you know you can tell me anything." He nodded, but the tension in his posture didn't ease. "My family. They've never been very accepting of me. When I started my business, they didn't approve. They thought I was taking too many risks. And when I started dating you, it only got worse." Emma's stomach dropped. "Why didn't you tell me before? You've always been so open with me." Liam looked away, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't want to burden you. I wanted us to have something real, without any outside interference. But now, I think you need to know the truth." Emma took his hand in both of hers, her heart swelling with compassion. "I don't care what your family thinks, Liam. You and I, we're building our life together, and that's all that matters." Liam smiled faintly, but there was a sadness in his eyes. "I wish it were that simple. My family's wealth and influence come with expectations. And right now, they're pressuring me to take over the family business. They want me to be something I'm not. I don't want to go back to that life." Emma's mind raced as she processed his words. "But you don't have to do anything you don't want to, Liam. You've worked so hard for your success. You've created your own path. Don't let anyone tell you who you should be." Liam looked at her with gratitude in his eyes. "I know, but it's hard. They've always had control over me. And it's been a struggle to break free. But with you by my side, I feel like I can finally stand up for what I want." Emma leaned in, kissing him gently on the cheek. "You've already proven that, Liam. You're your own person, and you've made it this far on your own. Don't let anyone take that away from you." Over the next few weeks, Liam continued to struggle with his family's demands, and the pressure began to take its toll. He was torn between his love for Emma and his obligations to a family that didn't understand him. He tried to stay focused on their life together, but the constant tension was hard to ignore. Emma, on the other hand, threw herself into her art, finding solace in her work as she prepared for an upcoming exhibition. It was something she had always dreamed of, a chance to show the world her talent, to share her passion for painting with others. Liam had promised to attend the opening, and she couldn't wait for him to see what she had created. The night of the exhibition arrived, and Emma stood nervously in front of her paintings, her heart racing as guests began to filter in. The gallery was packed, the walls lined with vibrant colors and bold brushstrokes that told the story of her journey. As she scanned the room, her eyes locked onto Liam, who had just entered, his gaze filled with admiration. He smiled warmly at her, and for a moment, all her worries melted away. She walked over to him, her face lighting up. "I'm so glad you made it," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. "This means so much to me." Liam took her hand, squeezing it gently. "I wouldn't miss it for the world," he said, his voice full of pride. As they walked through the gallery, Liam's eyes lingered on each painting, his admiration for her talent evident. He paused in front of one particular piece, a vibrant painting of a sunset over the ocean. "This one," he said softly. "It's incredible." Emma beamed with pride. "It's one of my favorites. I painted it after our trip to the beach last summer. I wanted to capture how peaceful and beautiful the world felt when we were together." Liam's eyes softened, and he looked at her with such tenderness that it took her breath away. "It's perfect, Emma. Just like you." The night continued with laughter and conversations, but Emma's heart remained full as she watched Liam take in her work, proud of what she had accomplished. This was more than just a night of celebration. It was a reminder of how far she had come, how much she had overcome, and how much she had grown. But just as the night seemed perfect, her phone buzzed in her pocket, pulling her back to reality. She pulled it out, reading the text that had just come through. It was from her mother. "We need to talk. Urgent." Emma's heart skipped a beat. She excused herself from Liam, stepping outside the gallery to take the call. The conversation was brief but shocking. Her mother had been diagnosed with a serious illness, and they needed to make some difficult decisions about her care. Emma's world tilted on its axis as she listened to her mother's words. She felt the weight of the news settle on her chest, and she realized, in that moment, that nothing would ever be the same again. As Emma hung up the phone, her mind was racing, her heart sinking with the weight of the news. Her mother's diagnosis felt like a punch to the gut, and she could barely process it. She stepped back inside the gallery, her hands trembling as she tried to find Liam in the crowd. He was standing near her paintings, a look of pride on his face as he admired her work. But when he saw her face, he immediately sensed something was wrong. "Emma?" he asked, his voice full of concern as he walked toward her. "What's happened?" Emma took a deep breath, her mind still swirling. She couldn't hold it in any longer. "My mom," she whispered, her voice breaking. "She's sick, really sick. They need to make some decisions about her care." Liam's expression softened, and he reached out, taking her hands in his. "I'm so sorry, Emma. I know how much she means to you. What can I do to help?" Emma felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. "I don't even know what to do. I feel so lost. I want to be there for her, but I don't know how to juggle everything. My art, this exhibition, and now this." Liam pulled her into an embrace, holding her tightly as she let out a shaky breath. "You don't have to do it all on your own. I'm here, Emma. Whatever you need, I'll be here for you." His words were a balm to her aching heart, and she found herself clinging to him, the comfort of his presence grounding her in the midst of the storm. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. She took a step back, looking up at him with gratitude. "I just don't know how I'm going to handle all of this. It feels like everything is falling apart." Liam cupped her face gently, his thumb brushing away a stray tear. "You're not alone in this, Emma. We'll figure it out together. You're stronger than you realize." Emma nodded, taking a deep breath as she tried to compose herself. The weight of her mother's illness still felt heavy, but with Liam by her side, she knew she wasn't facing it alone. The rest of the evening passed in a blur, her mind occupied by thoughts of her mother and what the future would hold. Liam stayed close, offering support without pushing her, letting her take the time she needed to process everything. The exhibition had been a success, but for Emma, the triumph of the night felt overshadowed by the uncertainty that lay ahead. The next day, Emma found herself at her mother's side, sitting in the sterile hospital room as doctors discussed treatment options. Her mother, though frail and weakened by the illness, tried to put on a brave face for Emma, but the worry in her eyes was undeniable. "I don't want to be a burden on you, darling," her mother said softly, her voice hoarse. "I know you have your own life to live now." Emma shook her head, taking her mother's hand in hers. "Mom, you're never a burden. I'm here for you, always." As they spoke with the doctors and made the difficult decisions about her mother's care, Emma felt the weight of the responsibility settle even more heavily on her shoulders. It was a challenge she wasn't sure she was ready for, but she was determined to be strong for her mother, just as her mother had always been strong for her. Liam called her later that evening, his voice a comforting presence on the other end of the line. "How are you holding up?" he asked, his tone gentle. Emma sighed, leaning back in her chair. "I'm doing okay. It's just so overwhelming." "I don't know if I can do this, Liam." "You don't have to do it alone," Liam replied. "I'm here. I'll be here. Every step of the way." His words meant more than he could know. She knew that no matter what happened, Liam would be by her side, supporting her, helping her navigate this new chapter in her life. The following weeks were filled with hospital visits, treatment plans, and emotional roller coasters. Emma struggled to find balance between being there for her mother and pursuing her art, but Liam was a constant source of support. He attended doctor appointments with her, helped her manage the logistics, and always made sure she knew he was there, no matter what. It wasn't easy, but Emma slowly began to find her footing. As her mother's health improved slightly, Emma found a renewed sense of hope. The challenges were still there, but they were no longer insurmountable. With Liam's unwavering support, Emma started to believe that she could handle whatever came her way. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day, Liam took Emma to a quiet park, away from the demands of the hospital and her art. They sat on a bench together, the night air cool and peaceful around them. Liam turned to her, his expression tender. "Emma, you don't have to do everything alone. You've got me, remember?" Emma looked up at him, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I know," she said softly, "and I'm so grateful for you. I don't know how I would get through all of this without you." Liam smiled, his hand gently brushing hers. "We'll get through it together, Emma. And when it's all over, when you're ready, we'll start the next chapter of our lives. No rush, just one step at a time." Emma nodded, leaning into him as they sat in the quiet park, feeling a sense of calm wash over her. For the first time in a long while, she felt like everything would be okay. The road ahead was still uncertain, but with Liam by her side, she knew she could face it. Together, weeks passed, and Emma continued to juggle the demands of her mother's care, her art, and her life with Liam. Each day brought new challenges, but Liam was always there to help, offering his unwavering support. The weight of her responsibilities was still heavy, but with Liam by her side, Emma felt like she could endure anything. Her mother's condition had improved slightly, but there were still many uncertain days ahead. Emma had found solace in her art, pouring her emotions into her paintings, and she was preparing for another exhibition, a chance to share her journey with the world. It was a way for her to reclaim some normalcy, to remember who she was before everything became about caring for her mother. One evening, after a long day of work at the gallery, Emma was sitting at her studio, working on a new piece. The soft hum of her brush as it moved across the canvas was calming, and for the first time in a while, she felt like she was in control of something. The door to her studio creaked open, and she turned to see Liam standing there, a smile on his face. "I thought I'd find you here," he said, his voice warm. "I wanted to see how the new piece is coming along." Emma smiled at him, her heart swelling with affection. "It's coming along. Slowly, but it's getting there." Liam walked over to her, admiring the painting she was working on. "It's beautiful, Emma," he said, his voice full of admiration. "You have such a gift. I'm proud of you." Emma felt a rush of warmth at his words, but she couldn't help but feel a twinge of doubt. "I don't know if it's enough, though," she confessed, her voice soft. "I feel like I'm stretched so thin. I'm doing my best, but I'm not sure it's good enough." Liam knelt down beside her, placing a hand on hers. "You don't have to be perfect, Emma. You're doing everything you can, and that's more than enough. You're amazing, and you're stronger than you realize." She looked at him, her eyes searching his for reassurance. "But what if it's not enough? What if I fail?" Liam shook his head, his expression softening. "Emma, You've already won. You've faced so much, and you've kept going. That's strength. You're not defined by your mistakes or your doubts. You're defined by the way you keep moving forward, no matter what. Emma felt her heart swell with emotion as she looked at him, her eyes filling with tears. I don't know what I would do without you, Liam. You've been my rock through all of this. Liam smiled gently, brushing a stray lock of hair behind her ear. And I'll always be here for you. No matter what happens, I'm not going anywhere. As Emma looked at Liam, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. She wasn't alone anymore. She had him, and together, they could face whatever came next. The next morning, Emma received a call from the hospital. Her mother's condition had worsened, and she was being moved to intensive care. Emma's heart dropped as she listened to the nurse's words, and for a moment, everything felt like it was falling apart. She rushed to the hospital, Liam by her side, offering his support as always. When they arrived, the sight of her mother hooked up to machines, her fragile body still, was almost too much to bear. Emma held her mother's hand, tears streaming down her face as she whispered words of comfort. I'm here, Mom. I'm here, and I love you. You don't have to fight anymore. I'm so proud of you. Liam stood quietly beside her, his hand resting gently on her back, a silent support as Emma navigated the pain and the heartbreak. In that moment, Emma realized something she hadn't fully understood before. She had been so focused on trying to handle everything on her own that she had forgotten the most important thing. She didn't have to do it alone. Liam was there, and he was never going to leave. The days that followed were filled with difficult decisions, long nights, and moments of heartache. Emma stayed by her mother's side, holding her hand through each moment, never leaving her alone. Liam, too, was there, offering support and love in every way he could. One evening, after a long day at the hospital, Liam took Emma back to their apartment. He had arranged for a quiet dinner, just the two of them. As they sat at the table, the soft glow of the candles casting shadows on the walls, Emma felt a sense of calm she hadn't felt in weeks. Liam reached across the table, taking her hand in his. I know this has been hard, Emma, he said quietly, his voice full of tenderness. But I want you to know that I'm so proud of you. You've been so strong. And I know it hasn't been easy. But you've made it through. Emma squeezed his hand, her heart full. I couldn't have made it without you. I'm so grateful for you, Liam. You've shown me that I don't have to carry this burden on my own. Liam smiled, his eyes soft and full of love. You never have to. We'll face everything together, every step of the way. As they sat there, their hands intertwined, Emma realized that she had found something truly special. It wasn't just about the love they shared, it was the partnership they had built. They were in this together, and nothing could change that. The road ahead would be difficult, but Emma knew, with Liam by her side, she would find the strength to face it. Together. The days that followed were a blur of emotions, hospital visits, and quiet moments shared between Emma and Liam. Her mother's condition had stabilized, but the road ahead was still uncertain. Emma had found a new strength within herself, one that came from her deep love for her mother and the support Liam had given her every step of the way. The weight of the world still rested on her shoulders, but with Liam's presence, it didn't feel so heavy anymore. One morning, as Emma walked into the hospital to see her mother, she was greeted by a familiar face. It was her father, who she hadn't seen in years. The sight of him stopped her in her tracks. He looked older, his face lined with years of regret, but there was something in his eyes, a sense of longing, perhaps. Dad? Emma's voice cracked as she spoke, the shock of seeing him again flooding her with memories she had tried to forget. Emma, I didn't know where else to turn, her father said, his voice shaky. I know I haven't been there for you, but your mother, she's all I have left. Emma felt a rush of conflicting emotions. She had spent so many years trying to move on from the past, from the pain her father had caused. But standing in front of him, she couldn't deny the part of her that still wanted a connection, still wanted to believe that people could change. I don't know what to say, Emma replied softly, her heart torn. You disappeared when I needed you the most. You weren't there for me. Not when I had to grow up too fast. Not when everything fell apart. Her father looked down, ashamed, and Emma could see the regret in his eyes. I know I messed up, but I'm here now. I want to make things right, Emma. I want to help you with your mother." The offer, though sincere, hit Emma like a wave. She had spent so many years thinking she didn't need him, convincing herself that she was better off without him. But now, with her mother's health hanging in the balance, the possibility of her father's return made her feel vulnerable in a way she wasn't ready for. "I don't know if I can trust you again, Dad," Emma said, her voice breaking. "I've spent my life alone, trying to figure things out on my own. I don't know if I can let you back in after everything that's happened." He stepped closer to her, his eyes pleading. "Please, Emma. I know I've hurt you, and I can't change the past. But I want to be here for you now. Please, let me help." The silence between them stretched for what felt like an eternity. Emma felt the weight of his words and the flood of emotions inside her. She didn't know if she was ready to forgive him, but she knew one thing for sure: she wasn't alone anymore. She had Liam, and together they had faced challenges that no one should have to endure. And now, for the first time, Emma felt like maybe it was time to allow herself the possibility of healing. "I'll think about it," she said, her voice steady. "But right now, my mom needs me." Her father nodded, his shoulders slumping as if the weight of his own regrets had finally caught up with him. "I understand," he said quietly. "I'm just glad I could be here." Emma turned to leave, but her father stopped her. "Emma," he called, his voice soft. She turned back to him, her heart racing with uncertainty. "I'm sorry," he said again, his eyes filled with sincerity. "I never should have left. I'm sorry for everything." Emma felt a lump form in her throat as she nodded, the past still lingering between them. "I know," she whispered, before turning to walk away. As she left the hospital, her thoughts were consumed with the encounter. Her father's words were still echoing in her mind, and though she wasn't sure she was ready to fully forgive him, she realized that a part of her was finally ready to heal. Liam was waiting for her outside the hospital, his arms open as she approached. Without saying a word, she walked into his embrace, feeling the comfort of his presence wash over her. "How did it go?" he asked softly, his voice gentle. Emma rested her head on his chest, taking a deep breath. "It was hard," she said quietly. "But I'm okay. I don't know if I'll ever fully forgive him, but I'm starting to understand that healing isn't a straight line. It's messy and complicated." Liam kissed the top of her head, his arms tightening around her. "You don't have to have it all figured out. I'm here for you, no matter what." Emma looked up at him, her heart filled with gratitude. "I know," she said softly. "And I'm so thankful for you. I don't know what I'd do without you." Liam smiled, his eyes filled with warmth and understanding. "You'll never have to find out. I'm here for you, Emma, always." As they stood there, in the quiet of the hospital parking lot, Emma realized that she didn't have to have all the answers. The road ahead was still uncertain, but with Liam by her side, she knew that she could face whatever came her way. Together, the following weeks were a whirlwind of emotions, decisions, and moments of clarity. Emma had decided to take small steps toward healing, both with her mother's illness and her relationship with her father. She knew forgiveness wouldn't come all at once, but there was something different now. The tension that once held her back was starting to loosen. And with Liam's support, Emma realized that healing wasn't just about forgiving others, it was about learning to forgive herself. She was still uncertain about her father's role in her life, but the conversation they'd had planted a seed of possibility. Her mother's health continued to improve, though slowly, and Emma was by her side through every step. The doctors were optimistic, but Emma knew the journey was far from over. One evening, as Emma sat beside her mother in the hospital, Liam arrived with takeout from her favorite restaurant. He always knew how to lift her spirits, even in the darkest moments. "I thought you could use something comforting," he said, with a warm smile as he set the bags on the table. Emma couldn't help but smile back, grateful for his presence. "You always know exactly what I need," she said, sitting up a little straighter. As they shared the meal, Liam's gentle voice cut through the quiet. "I've been thinking a lot about the future, Emma," he said, his tone thoughtful. "About us." Emma turned to him, her heart skipping a beat. "What about us?" she asked, her voice soft. Liam took a deep breath, his eyes filled with sincerity. "I know we've been through a lot, and there's still a lot we don't know. But I want you to know that I'm committed to you, Emma. I want to build a life with you, a future where we don't just survive, but thrive, together." Emma's heart swelled as she looked at him, her eyes filling with tears. She had never imagined she would find someone like Liam, a person who was there not just for the good times, but also through the hardest challenges. He had stood by her side when everything seemed impossible. And now, as they looked ahead, Emma realized just how much he meant to her. "I want that too," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm ready to face whatever comes next, as long as it's with you." Liam smiled, a soft, loving smile that made Emma's heart flutter. He reached out and took her hand, his fingers gently brushing against hers. "We'll face it all, together," he said. As the days turned into weeks, Emma and Liam's relationship continued to deepen. She continued to care for her mother, who was slowly getting stronger, and with each passing day, Emma felt a renewed sense of hope. She began to paint again, not just as a way to express herself, but as a way to reconnect with the dreams she had once put on hold. The gallery exhibition that had once seemed like a distant dream was now becoming a reality, and Emma found herself filled with excitement as she prepared for it. One afternoon, as Emma was working on a new painting in her studio, Liam entered the room, his presence comforting as always. "How's it going?" he asked, leaning against the doorframe with a smile. Emma looked up, her eyes sparkling with pride. "It's going great. I'm really happy with how this one is turning out. It feels like I'm getting back to myself." Liam walked over to her, admiring the painting she was working on. "I can see that. It's amazing, Emma." She beamed at him, grateful for his encouragement. "Thank you. It's been a journey, but I'm finally feeling like I can balance everything. My art, my mom, and us." Liam took her hand, pulling her into a gentle embrace. "You're incredible, Emma. You've done so much, and you've come so far. I'm proud of you." Emma held on to him, feeling a sense of peace settle over her. "I couldn't have done it without you." A few weeks later, Emma's gallery exhibition opened, and the turnout was beyond anything she had imagined. As she stood there, surrounded by her art and the people who had supported her, she felt a sense of accomplishment and pride. But the greatest reward of all was the man standing by her side. Liam had always been there, supporting her dreams. And now, as she looked at the crowd admiring her work, she realized that she had everything she needed. Her mother's health was improving, her art was flourishing, and her relationship with Liam was stronger than ever. As the evening drew to a close, Liam turned to her, his eyes full of love. "You did it, Emma. You've worked so hard, and you've come so far. I'm so proud of you." Emma smiled, her heart full. "We did it," she corrected softly, "together." And as they stood there, hand in hand, Emma knew that no matter what challenges the future would bring, they would face them together. Their love was stronger than ever, and for the first time in her life, Emma felt that she was truly home. The road ahead was still uncertain, but with Liam by her side, she knew they could handle anything. Together. In this touching and emotional tale, we follow Emma, a young woman navigating the trials of life, family, and love, all while discovering her true worth through her relationship with Liam, a millionaire who offers her more than just financial support. As we explore the challenges Emma faces, including caring for her sick mother and reconciling with a distant father, this story reflects the depth of human connection and resilience. As Emma builds her life with Liam, a wealthy businessman who truly sees her, the narrative unfolds to reveal the beauty of love and the importance of mutual support. This is one of the many inspiring millionaire stories, filled with real emotions and hard decisions that shape Emma's journey. Liam's unwavering support and Emma's personal growth are central to this millionaire story, where love and care overcome the toughest of times. Through each chapter, Emma learns that money isn't the key to happiness, but love and genuine relationships are what truly matter. These millionaire stories are not just about wealth, they're about the emotional connections that bring people together. Join Emma on her journey through heartache, healing, and finding love in this beautiful, inspiring millionaire story.